Please forgive the background noise if you are hearing it. I'm clearly at a cafe, and it's lunchtime, so it's busy here. And I'm really hoping that through the magic of my earbuds, y'all will be able to hear me and follow along with this really juicy, rich, important catalyst conversation. So it's an experiment, and if it totally messes up, then it messes up. I was trying to do something tech-wise. Oh, I need to be on D&D. That's what I'm trying to do. One moment, please, before I get interrupted again. Okay. So today we are talking romance. Nearly everyone, regardless of their sex or gender, says that they want more romance. Okay. But then what I see so often is that when attempts at romance are made, those who desire it so much are quietly disappointed by how romance is actually showing up in their relationship. And that's not because romance is dead. And it's not because of, lack of effort on someone's part. What it is because we don't understand what romance really is, let alone how to do it well. And worse, we have been sold a version of romance that very few real humans can actually live inside of. But today, we're going to fix that so that your relationship can start to enjoy real and delicious and delightful romance just in time for Valentine's Day. Welcome, my friends, to another Catalyst conversation in the Relationship Revolution. Here, we disrupt the old stories about love, power, and partnership, and we activate new ways of leading relationships consciously, courageously, and differently. This month of February, we are in a series I'm calling Creating Love That Feels Loving. So, we are talking about what it actually takes to make love feel the way we want it to feel, not just look good on the outside. And yes, you've heard me in my definition of love, as I've talked about love before, like we talked about last week, when we talk about what love really is, that love isn't a feeling. But that doesn't mean we don't want to feel all of the good feelings that are associated with love, right? So that's why I want to be having those conversations. The first shift is like understanding what love really is, so we can be clear on how to engage with love, how to be loving ourselves, how to look for love or what to expect for love in our relationships or from love. But this week and beyond, I'm going to get more into the part that feels good, the part that feels the way that we want to feel in our relationships. And I think romance is a big piece of that. We may not talk about it often unless it's like an anniversary or Valentine's Day. Yet it is something that most people, again, regardless of masculinity or femininity associations, crave more of. And what we want to do in all of these conversations about creating love that feels loving is shift from love and efforts that are performative, box checking, and move into the lived, embodied experiences of being in a relationship that nourishes you. Romance, what we're talking about today, I think is one of the most charged and misunderstood topics of all. Now, I think this conversation really matters because, again, romance is something that people crave deeply, but they rarely know how to create it consciously. Most of us learned romance from movies, and that's been part of the problem, right? From media, from romance novels, from cultural scripts. Those scripts of romance, what's the word I'm looking for? They paint the picture of romance as effortless, as dramatic, cinematic, extravagant, perfectly timed, surprising, passionate. It's often mind reading based and often masculine performing, feminine receiving. And all of those expectations set us up. Okay? Because if our romance or our partner's efforts at romance don't match those pictures that we've internalized about what romance is, we're disappointed. It doesn't count. It's not good enough. Listen, this isn't just you, this has been me too. And what I have found is that if you want more romance in your relationship, then we need to tell the truth about what romance really is, which is that, or which is that it's not. Let me say that. Start by saying what romance is not is what we have been taught. Okay, we have been taught to recognize romance only when it arrives in someone else's fantasy. Whoever created that Disney movie, whoever created that romantic comedy that we loved, whoever created that romantasy novel that I am reading right now, that's someone else's fantasy. And it might connect with your fantasies or dreams and desires. And that's great because that gives you clarity. But that is not what romance is going to necessarily look like in real relationships, in the real playing out of your partnership. And if those are the expectations we hold, someone else's fantasy made real in real life, we are going to consistently feel disconnected because those attempts at connection, those attempts at expression of love are not ever going to land. And so what happens is that we become conditioned to wait to be impressed by our partners, right? Instead of learning how to be relationally attuned to the efforts that are being made. These ideas about romance disqualify what real love and romance can look like just because they don't look like the movie. And it trains us to evaluate gestures of love, connection, and romance instead of just receiving them and appreciating them. I'll tell you a quick story. I was going to save it for later, but it's so relevant here. I was working with a client once who really wanted her partner to bring her flowers, and finally he did. He got her some roses. I don't remember if it was for an anniversary or special occasion. I think maybe it was, but regardless, the roses that he got were either painted or dyed, and I think they may have had glitter on them, and so they were not good enough. And she was really upset. We spent an entire coaching call processing how disappointed and unseen and unloved that she felt when her husband did the exact thing that she asked for. He just didn't do it in the way that matched her vision of what it was supposed to look like. And imagine how he felt, right? Defeated, frustrated, nothing I do is good enough. Sure, there was a learning opportunity here. Of course, he can learn how to, like when she wants flowers, the kinds of flowers that she really enjoys to receive. But the tension, the conflict, the disappointment, the story that he doesn't see me, he doesn't love me, he doesn't get it, that created ripples of disconnection in the relationship that, if we weren't able to process, could have like just become more evidence that reinforced their disconnection that they were already experiencing, right? So again, when we are holding this misperception of romance, we start to miss each other. We start to feel resentful, and our connection quietly erodes over time. But there is a way, my friends, there is a way to experience more romance in our relationships when we understand what romance really is at its core, right? Because romance can be like the things in the movies, but let's talk about what romance is at its core, what really helps romance land. and then how we can receive it, because there's two pieces to romance, and the receiving part I don't think ever gets talked about. So I want to talk about that too. And so that's why we're having this conversation today. So y'all can experience the Valentine's Day that you most desire, so that you can have the romantic, connected relationship that you have been longing for. Okay? And real quick, if you know that you're someone who wants to go deeper, who wants support in actually applying these things that we're learning and talking about, then our Relationship Revolution community may be just what you're looking for. I will share more information about that at the end. I just wanted to plant the seed. Okay? So, before I get into the juicy good stuff, let me take a moment to introduce who I am and how I help for those of you who may be new to me or this work. My name is Dr. Jenny Wallig. I am a relationship revolutionary, mentor, speaker, educator. Saying that speaker, educator. That's starting to come out really weird. Sorry. And co-founder of Powerful Love Relationships. Y'all, this business that I founded with my partner and soulmate, this work that I am doing, it is part of a larger mission that I have to revolutionize relationships and redefine what it means to love. Because I understand that most of the suffering in our lives and in the world is caused by relationships that aren't working. From the personal mental health and addiction issues to larger systemic issues like broken families, broken systems, um, and a planet that is on the verge of, or that is actually not on the verge, is undergoing currently another mass extinction. These are all relationships. I like to say that relationship skills are not nice to have skills, they are need to have skills. Relationship skills are our success skills, but no one bothers to teach us what they are. And yet, I am here in this work to do so much more than just teach you relationship skills. I am here to wake something up within you, right? So that you can be part of a revolution, part of the change that we need in this world, so that we can live with more consciousness, more love, more accountability, more joy, more harmony. Yeah, we need to learn some things, but we need to unlearn some things too. We need to shift some things. We need to expand our awareness. We need to become new and better versions of ourselves as relational beings. And that is what the relationship revolution is about. That is what these conversations, these catalyst conversations, are here to inspire. And so if you want to help us to activate and accelerate this global movement, that I want to invite you to please do us the favor of liking and commenting on these videos or on my content. So subscribe to us on YouTube, to Powerful Love. Share about our work, attend our events, and of course, do your part to lead with love. If you're looking for deeper support for yourself in your relationship or your relational leadership, please feel free to reach out. There are a number of ways that I can support you, that Cal and I can support you, that Powerful Love can support you. I'll talk about two of them at the end of this episode: the Relationship Revolution community and a new relationship leadership initiation that I have created. I'm very excited about. But again, those are only two of many ways that we can help. So feel free to reach out. Enough of all that, of the intro. Let's get into this, okay? I know you're busy person. So let me start by offering a different definition of romance, one that actually works in real relationships. And before I do that, I want to start with what romance is not, okay? Romance is not performative. It is not scripted. It is not gendered by default. It's also not a personality trait that, I'm just not romantic, or, oh, he is so romantic. No, romance is not a personality trait. It's not a fixed set of gestures, right? Of surprises and candles and flowers. And it is definitely not a one size fits all expression of love. Romance, here's the definition, okay? So lean in, listen up. I want you to get this. Romance is the intentional expression of care in a way that makes your partner feel desired, chosen, and emotionally significant. I'm going to say that again. Romance is the intentional expression of care in a way that your partner feels desired, chosen, and emotionally significant. In a way that leaves them feeling cherished, adored, seen. Does that make sense? That can look a lot of different ways. I just said to Cal last night, because I had this conversation on my mind. Often at night, I get cold. I hate being cold. And he will be my big spoon, and he'll notice that the back of my neck isn't covered by the blankets. And he'll take the blanket and he will pull it up and make sure it's tucked around my shoulders so that the front of me and the back of me, where it's exposed to him, is all covered up and snug in the blanket. And I recognized in that moment, I said, Cal, I think that's one of the most romantic things that you do for me. It made me feel seen. He knows that I get cold. It made me feel important to him that he would go out of that way, right? That was really romantic. Real romance, my friends, is intentional. It is relational. Right? It's like it's about the relationship you share with that person and who that person is. Is also learned. Okay, not just from media and romanticises, though I admit that I have asked Cal to read some of my favorite romanticises because, hey, dude, get some ideas. But and like that's a way to learn. It's also learned by the way that we share about what feels romantic, what it is that we desire. Like in the story I gave of my client, he learned flowers, so he got flowers. Then he needed to learn not painted, sparkled, done up flowers, just regular cut flowers. For me, flowers are romance. You get me a house plant, way more romantic for me. Especially if there's like a meaning behind it. If you're like, I saw this part of the house needed it, or there's feng shui associated with this plant, like that means more. But that's me. And Cal's not going to read my mind on that because that's not how he experiences romance. For him, probably scratching his head. He loves that. So we need to teach one another what romance feels like. It's also practiced because you might not get it right the first time, and there may be some course corrections to do, and that's okay, right? Because we need to give ourselves and our partners the opportunity to learn, to grow, to improve. Otherwise, again, we're going to keep being disappointed. So let's collaborate. Let's be in partnership together in order to create this experience. And again, romance has to be what I like to call translatable. That means that your partner has to be able to translate it as romantic, right? Buying me a gift is not going to be romantic for me because I don't really like things that wouldn't translate. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about translation in a bit, but the best romance for your partner is the romance that's going to translate the easiest for them. Okay? So, romance, I want to be really clear. Like, this is the paradigm shift, guys. Romance is not what you do, it is how well what you do lands with your specific partner. I'm going to say that one again because it's really important. Write this one down. Romance is not what you do. It is how well what you do lands with your specific partner. Sure, everyone wants romance. Everyone wants to feel chosen, desired, special, considered, cherished. I don't care what gender you are, what assigned sex you were given at birth, what, how, like squishy you like to be or not. Everyone wants to feel chosen, desired, special, considered, cherished by their partner. And how that looks for everyone is going to be different. So romance must express itself differently. These differences can be affected by our nervous systems and our window of tolerance during that day, how stressed or overwhelmed we are, how relaxed we are. It's obviously, I hope it's obvious, but influenced by gender socialization. It's influenced by love language, which I'm going to talk a little bit about in a moment. If you haven't heard of love languages, I recommend searching it up. It's influenced by our trauma histories. Trauma and past experiences can have a big effect on what translates as romantic and not for us. Okay, our capacity to receive, and our family of origin, what we learned from our parents, what we experienced as a child, what was normal or abnormal in terms of expression of affection when we grew up. So for some people, romance might be words. For others, it's planning. For still others, it's being very present. Romance can look like protection, like practical care. It can look like consistency or touch or sexual attunement. Romance can be emotional availability. So it's not just one thing. It's certainly not just the things that you see in media or literature. It is a translation of care in a way that lands for you. So I want to transition a little bit and talk briefly about love languages. If you've heard of love languages, author Gary Chapman created this. Note to those who may not be religious, his book is Christian based. For me, as a spiritual but not religious person, I just translated it to what it meant for me. But regardless, his ideas of love languages are really helpful and have been a super liberating tool for a lot of couples. And so the idea is that each person has a way of expressing love and receiving love, feeling most loved when it's given or expressed in that particular language. 5 love languages include quality time, acts of service, physical touch, gifts of love, and words of affirmation. Okay? And there's a quiz. You can take the quiz if you don't know what your love language is. I highly recommend doing that. What's typically talked about as kind of the liberating process of love languages is knowing what yours is so you can communicate that to your partner, and so that your partner can start communicating love to you in a language that translates, or that translates easily, in a language that lands. It's also really helpful to know your partner's love language so that you can communicate love to them in a way that lands. And in so doing, both of you can feel more loved in your partnership because you're speaking to one another in the language that each of you can hear. For example, my primary love language is words of affirmation. Cal's primary love language is physical touch. So when I know that he's low on love, or I want to show him how much I love him, I scratch his head. If he wants to give me love, or if I need more love from him, I ask for words. Or he writes me a letter. Okay? So that's how he shows me love in my love language. I show him love in his love language. Great. We're both feeling more loved. Here's the piece that's missing that I think is so important to also acknowledge, especially in the conversations that I think are really important in this revolution, which is around like being the one that your relationship, that love is asking you to become. And it is doing your own translation work. Because Listen, if your partner is speaking to you in your love language, do you need to translate anything? No, because it's in your love language. It's like if your native language was Spanish and your partner was speaking to you in Spanish, you don't need to translate. It just lands. That makes it easy. That's how we all want it, right? We don't want to have to do the work of translating. If you've ever learned a second language, you know it's a lot. It takes a lot of mental energy. I want some more of my peppermint tea. Hang on. So good. Okay, so here's what translation actually means then when we're talking love languages. It's your partner speaking to you in their love language and you doing the mental energetic labor of recognizing it as an expression of love or romance and allowing that to land. Allowing that to land. Guys, you can allow it to land too. And that is a gift of love you can give to your partner. Now, it might not land as well or as romantically or in as good a feel good way as it would if it were in your language. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have to count at all. Let it count. I remember I had a girlfriend once who asked me to be her girlfriend in a very romantic way, traditionally romantic. And it was with, she took me to a lovely park. She surprised me with a rose, and then she asked me, almost like an engagement, to be her girlfriend. Well, none of that was really my love language, and I was not so relationally conscious at that time. And I was super uncomfortable. And it didn't count for me. It actually, like I became her girlfriend, but it actually was a mark against her in my mind because it was not what I expected of romance, and it was not in my love language. Now, if something like that should happen today, or well, no, let me say it this way: it does. This happens all the time. Cal, even though he knows my love language, really struggles with words of affirmation. It is so foreign to him. It is like learning Japanese, which for me in my brain, it feels like a really hard language to learn as an English native speaking person. So he tries. He's not great at it. He forgets to do it, but it's so easy for him to love in physical touch. So when I'm upset and I need words of reassurance, what does he go to? Trying to hug me. Now, I could reject that. I could not let that land and not feel loved because he wasn't giving me the words. He wasn't telling me it was going to be okay. He wasn't validating me or acknowledging my pain. He wasn't being attuned through words and nonverbal tone of voice and all the things that I would love to experience. Well, he was still loving me. And I have had to learn, and because I have learned, our relationship has felt much more connected, much more loving, much more romantic, that I had to learn how to translate that, his English into my Japanese. Like, what does that English physical touch mean? Oh, it means I love you. I'm here with you. I care about you, baby. And I'll say those things inside my own mind while he's hugging me. I will tell myself the words that I need to hear. Now, this looks different for everybody, but the idea here is that we're not just sitting around waiting for our partner to love us perfectly or to be romantic perfectly in the love language that we would prefer. Let's teach them, let's share with them, let's help them become better at expressing love and romance in a way that'll land easily with us. And let them show us love and romance in the way that they enjoy too. If your partner loves giving you chocolate, if your partner loves taking you out to dinner or surprising you with, rose petals and candles, let them do that. If your partner loves sexing you really well, let them do that. And that could be a gift of love in return from you to receive that kind of love from them. And that brings me to something else that I want to talk about. My notes. Oh, before I go there, let me say this about love languages, because I think this is a really important piece I don't want to miss. Love languages are not rules for how other people must love us, okay? They are maps for how love registers in our nervous systems. They're doorways, okay? And they are not the only doorway. We can train and teach our nervous system to create new maps and understand love and romance through different languages. Both can. Did anybody else in their head just go 6, 7? I did. Do you have kids? Probably. Okay, so now I want to talk about receiving, because this is the other side of romance. Romance requires that you are able to receive the gestures that are being given to you, okay? So many people say, I want more romance. But then when romance shows up, or an attempt at romance shows up, they minimize it, they judge it, they dismiss it, they move the goalpost. Well, that was good, but it wasn't that good. They might say that doesn't count. That wasn't very romantic. They are unable to receive it in some other way. Let me tell you another story about me and my struggles with romance. Okay, I had an ex spouse proposed to me, and they were really excited about how they were going to propose, and they told me it's going to be so romantic, and my mind started creating these scenes of what could be so romantic. And the most romantic thing that I could think of was that they were going to arrange a flash mob to propose to me. Y'all, seriously, a flash mob? Yep. That became the goalpost. It was that, or that they were going to plant the ring in a pot of soil with a little seedling underneath, and as the plant grew, it was going to push the ring out, and that was going to be when they proposed. Realistic? Probably not. The proposal was very thoughtful and would have been romantic if I knew how to receive it. Instead, again, I got so uncomfortable by it, because it wasn't like, because I had these ideas in my head about what it was supposed to be, that I like kind of ruined the romance, ruined a lot of the experience for both of us because of how I responded. By the way, if you're interested, now I feel like I got to just share. I responded by like, oh, okay, yes. And then I went and took that fucking ring and scrubbed it in the mud. Yeah, put it in the mud. Because we were outdoors hiking and I wanted it to be messy and dirty because it was like too pretty and perfect. I don't know. That was a long time ago. But we do stuff like that if we're not able to receive. Oh my gosh, we got to be able to receive, you guys. Let me look at my notes. Okay, so what happens when we can't receive like that is that over time, your partner's going to stop trying. Not because they don't care, but because nothing that they ever do lands or is good enough. Receiving, my friends, is not a passive thing. It is a relational skill. It sometimes requires some tolerance of discomfort. In the masculine-feminine dynamic, the polarity, this usually plays out in ways that, like, that disappoint couples because the masculine coded people were never actually taught how to be romantic, only that they should be. Um, what they were really taught is like how to provide and perform. And so maybe they see the romantic comedies, um, but or have these kind of stereotypical ideas, but they don't know that, and that's performance. They don't know how to deliver it in a way that really lands for their spouse. And at the same time, many feminine coded people were taught to expect romance, but not how to guide, receive, or translate it. These are the things we need to course correct on, my friends, right? That is the real work of partnership and love. That is how we get to romance. Romance dies when one person performs, the other person evaluates, and no one freaking learns. Okay? But it will thrive when desire is named, when effort is acknowledged, when learning is mutual. Romance isn't dead in our relationships, y'all. Romance maybe has fallen to the wayside because people don't actually understand what it is, so they don't know how to give it in a way that translates. And when that kind of care is offered, people don't know how to receive it. This is how romance dies. This is why a lot of romance fades from relationships, but it doesn't have to. Because when you learn how to express romance with intention, when it's rooted in attunement to your partner rather than fantasy, and when you can learn to receive romance by noticing effort, by translating intent, by letting care count, love will begin to land. And a love that feels loving isn't about how romantic it looks, it's about how consistently cherished both people feel. Did you hear that? Are you catching this? I hope that my audio is coming through. This one feels important. I'm going to say it again, okay? A love that feels loving isn't about how romantic it looks. It is about how cherished, how consistently cherished you both feel. Which brings me to how we get there. Because learning and understanding this stuff is not enough. It's one thing to just have the aha, the awareness, great, you're a step closer. But real change happens when we take the things that we learn and we put them into practice, when we become someone who knows how to do this. And that is the work that we are doing inside the Relationship Revolution community. Each week, we take these ideas and we apply them. We look at how this, like how we can go deeper, what this can look like in our actual relationship. There's accountability and support, monthly coaching calls, behind the scenes look at how Cal and I are applying the work that we talk about in these conversations, bonus tools and trainings so that you can truly revolutionize your relationship. If you're interested in having that kind of support and applying these ideas, join us. It's only $147 a month. You can cancel anytime if it's not supporting you the way that you desire for it to do so, and it's growing and evolving. I have some really exciting ideas for adding more and giving more and doing more in this community this in 2026. So now is a great time to join. You can find more information about the Relationship Revolution community in the caption or description of this live stream, or feel free to reach out with any questions you may have. I also want to mention the Be the One 6-week relational leadership initiation that I am now offering. This is a really powerful container for accelerated change, for the woman who is on the brink, on the edge of giving up, doesn't really want to leave her relationship, but knows that she can't keep going like this if something doesn't change soon. The Be the One is about stepping into your power, stepping into the truth of who you are, reclaiming yourself, rewriting your role in the relationship, and learning how to effectively influence change and the changes that you desire to experience so that any energy you're putting into your relationship isn't just spinning in place. Okay? It doesn't just feel wasted like you're banging your head up against the wall. This is for the woman who is ready for real change and ready to lead it. Partners are welcome to participate in this program, but they're not required, because what we need to create real change in our life is always starting here. This is where we have any real power. Trying to change someone else never works. And when we are stuck in relationship dissatisfaction, we often spend a lot of energy trying to get another person to change. Uh, this program turns that around. And I'm telling you, it is far more effective and a lot easier when you learn how to do it, when you learn this approach. So I want to leave you. Call to action. If you're interested in the Be the One program, comment or DM or email me at connect@powerfullove.com, 1L, um, with the words "Be the One" in the subject line, and I'll get you more information about that program. Okay, now I'm gonna leave you with this. Romance, my friends, is not dead. Okay, it's just been waiting for us to grow the fuck up. Let go of the fantasy and learn how to love your partner on purpose for who they are in the way they need. Again, if you're ready to do that kind of work, we're here to help. Until next time, I will see you every Friday for another Catalyst conversation. Next week, we're diving into intimacy. So I hope you will be there. And until then, keep leading with love, my friend. I'm so glad that you're here.